Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Intellectual Adda on Creativity Café. In part one, we travel to the very beginning of the entrepreneurial journey, the moment where a possibility first flickers in the mind. We explored how entrepreneurs recognize opportunities, begin with limited resources, develop their capabilities, and confront the harsh, unromantic reality of failure. We discovered that an idea alone is never enough. Idea must be tested, resources must be mobilized, assumptions must be challenged, and setbacks must be transformed into learning. Today, we shift from starting a venture to sustaining one. This is the point where entrepreneurial inspiration must evolve into entrepreneurial discipline. But how? Well, let's dive into the paper of Rear Admiral Khandakar Akhter Hossain on assessment of global great entrepreneurs' life, lesson for new entrepreneurs for success in the 21st century, published in the Norwegian Journal of Development of International Science. Professor Hossain is the Vice-Chancellor of Bangladesh Maritime University and former Assistant Chief of Naval Staff Material of Bangladesh Navy. His experience, technical mastery, and hard-earned wisdom were forced in the heavy shipbuilding industries, where steel meets strategy and engineering become industrial leadership. His scholarship stretches far beyond the horizon, over 250 journal articles and 40 books on Amazon in the areas of physics, engineering, innovation, quantum mechanics, cosmology, artificial intelligence, and the future of civilization. Admiral, Vice-Chancellor, and CEO, it is a privilege to welcome you once again to Intellectual Adda on Creativity Café.
Thank you, Dr. Moin. I really enjoy your creative and thought-provoking Adda. And also thank you to your audience.
Thank you, Vice-Chancellor. So, dear audience, what we are going to do today with Admiral Akhter on the helm, we are going to unveil fascinating entrepreneurial gems. What matters more, passion or discipline? When does confidence hardens into stubbornness? Is technology an advantage or an attractive distraction? Why are teams and trust in teams so essential? And should entrepreneurial success be measured only by financial wealth, or also by the value, dignity, and possibility it creates for others? Well, let's start with our first question, Vice-Chancellor. As you know that entrepreneurship is often associated with passion, but is passion enough to sustain a venture?
Brilliant question. Passion gives energy, but discipline gives the energy to direction. A founder may feel deeply committed to an idea, yet business are the built through repeated actions, speaking with customers, improving products, monitoring finance or resolving conflict, meeting obligations, and completing difficult works. Even when enthusiasm temporarily disappears, patience is not enough to sustain a venture. It requires market demands, financial management, and operational executions. While passion drives the initial sparks, long-term survival depends on critical business fundamentals. And entrepreneurial discipline can resemble military precision because progress depends on preparations, consistency, and executions. At the same time, executive or the excessive works without balance can lead to burnout, damaged relationship, or poor judgment. Sustainable entrepreneurship requires endurance rather than permanent executions. Patience can also create bias. Founder may interpret criticism as disloyalty or continue investing in a weak idea because it has become part of their identity. They must therefore combine belief with objective. However, the boundary between the person and the startup disappears, making business critics feel like a personal attack. Replication on failing strategies because stopping feels like admitting personal failures. Again, confirmation bias or ignoring warning sign and outside feedback to protect the original visions. For example, Elizabeth Holmes is an American biotechnology and entrepreneur. Her passions turned into types and frauds because the teacher did not actually work. She ignored science and physics for a dream. Belief cannot bend the laws of reality or science. The strongest entrepreneurs are deeply committed but remain teachable. The strongest business leaders balance intense drive with open minds, pairing deep commitments with a constant readiness to be humble and teachable to lay the foundation of success. This balance helps them push through hard times while still changing course when they need to learn a new skill. They know when a mm, persevere and when to adapt. Fashion says this mission matter. Discipline asks what must be done today. Judgment determines whether the present approach still serves the mission. Dr. Moin.
Thank you very much, Vice-Chancellor. That's a very comprehensive answer, and I think it has got immense wisdom, particularly for students, but also for the entrepreneurs, including both seasoned entrepreneurs as well as the new entrepreneurs, also for the managers, and especially those people who are really meeting the challenges in their day-to-day works while working for the company or working for themselves if they're self-employed or maybe running small companies. So because it's so thorough and because I can see that you have done such a comprehensive research and you have unveiled all the diamond, all the gems through a sort of deep dive into the lives of the entrepreneurs, I must actually iterate or summarize a few points which my audience will find value. So I liked the way you started. I was sort of taking a little notes. So you said that passion sort of gives energy, but then you question that energy is not enough. Energy needs some guidance, and that there the discipline comes. So and then you moved to an analogy that I can remember that you used sort of military as kind of a metaphor. So you said that military precision is needed because entrepreneurs, their life is a lot more rough than what the life sailor face in the rough sea. They need to go through burnout, damaged relationship, poor judgment, failure, setback, bounce back, all this kind of a story are part of their day-to-day affairs. But he also said that, well, entrepreneur requires endurance. And that's why the military metaphor that you have used, so powerful. But I like the way you finished. You tried to create a symphony And that really got my attention because I'm also a storyteller, and I try to see the symphony or see the magic within the ordinary. So when you said three, or when you pronounce three words, it just come to me like words of wisdom. You said that passion, discipline, and judgment. So passion sort of advice, this mission matters, and through that they inspire people, they inspire the team. But then discipline demands something from the team and from the entrepreneur. So discipline asks that what must be done today. So it's not that you are fascinated by passion or you are fascinated by long-term vision, but you have to realize this vision, and every day matters. So there the discipline comes. But he also said that there is another dot, which is judgment. And the purpose of judgment is to determine whether the present approach still survives the mission. Because like the navigators or the captains at sea, always resilient, and if there is a need that they might have to change the course, entrepreneurs also might have changed their method, might have challenged their assumption and take a new approach. So that is really, really powerful. And particularly your example of Elizabeth Holmes, that is kind of, you are not just bringing the theories, but you are also showing that, okay, how the theory and practice can done side by side. So that's kind of fascinating, Admiral and Vice-Chancellor. So I will ask you the next question, and I think our audiences are really enjoying the way you are answering to my questions. So as you know that entrepreneurs need conviction, but when does self-confidence become dangerous? Stubbornness. Admiral.
Well thought. Confidence becomes dangerous when it prevents learning. Entrepreneurs need sufficient belief to act before everyone agrees with them. Innovation often appears unrealistic at first, and excessive dependence on external approval can destroy originality. However, confidence should not become the belief that the founder is always correct. Mature confidence allows a person to listen to criticism without losing purpose. Stubbornness, by contrast, reject evidence because changing directions feels like personal defeat. A useful distinction is between commitment to purpose and attachment to method. The entrepreneurs may remain committed to solving a customer's problems while changing the product, technology, pricing, or market strategy. Growth minded founders recognize their limitation, seek knowledge, advice, and treat feedback as informations rather than insult. They are optimistic, but their optimism is connected to actions, evidence, and adaptability. For example, the John Dolarens, owner of Dolarens Motor Company, he was an American engineer, innovator, and executive in the US automobile industry. He refused to alter his defective sports car design. He ignored early safety and manufacturing warning. The company went bankrupt, loses money in under a decade. Great founder who shows growth mindset, know their weak spot, ask expert for help, and use feedback to improve instead of getting upset. Famous examples include Jeff Bezos of Amazon, who focuses on customer feedback to change his business, and Satya Nadella of Microsoft, who changed their company's culture by encouraging a learning mindset. True confidence does not say, I cannot be wrong. It says, I can face the truth, learn what is necessary, and continue moving forward. That form of confidence strengthens both the individual and the venture, Dr. Moin.
Admiral, that is really, really a very good answer to understand the difference between confidence, overconfidence, or that can be turned into stubbornness. And you really, really discussed all the nitty-gritty and the subtleties that a leader can experience when they are confident or they feel confident. So, first thing that you said is very much a warning for all the entrepreneurs that confidence can become dangerous when it prevents learning. And I think this is a word of wisdom, because if this warning is hanged on the walls of the company, it can make a tremendous impact, provided people try to live it in their life. But yeah, this kind of warning is very, very good. So another thing you said that, well, we got to believe the evidence. It's not about our personal belief or our confidence, but what does the data says? Because that is what is the evidence. That is what is the objective decision making. An entrepreneur should have the open mind so that they can respond to the evidence. They can respond to the data, not just based on their predetermined mindset. So that's very, very powerful that you brought. The statement that you made, that statement that you made has got real power. You said that, well, confidence does not say that I cannot be wrong. It says that I can face the truth. So this thing, to be honest with you, I am practicing in my life actually, and when I have started practicing this thing, I have seen a tremendous difference in my life on many topics. Actually, I've got a couple of friends, and when I listen to them time and again, and sometimes they get wonder, and they say that, well, how can you have all this kind of attention when we are saying something? I mean, you already know some of the things that we are discussing. And often my answer is that, well, I'm not worried about actually to be proved as wrong, but I'm seeking the truth. So your answer is kind of a black box, I think, black box for the entrepreneurs, especially the young entrepreneurs who are embarking on a very, very, very tough, tedious, and uncertain journey. But if they can practice the wisdom that you have discussed while answering this question, I think it can be worth having this journey. So thank you very much for this answer. And I'm going to ask you the next question, which is about technology advantage or distraction. As you know, Vice-Chancellor, that technology is kind of the talk of the town now, particularly when some of the immersive technology, AI, and other things are in play in the modern day. So how has technology changed entrepreneurship? And can the founders become too fascinated by technology itself?
Thought-provoking and contemporary question, Dr. Moin. Technology has dramatically lowered barriers to market entry. Digital platforms allows entrepreneurs to reach customer, communicate globally, test ideas, access knowledge, and build business without always requiring traditional physical infrastructure. Technology has transformed entrepreneurships by lowering entry barriers, enabling global reach via cloud computing and digital platforms, and automating operations with artificial intelligence. However, founders frequently fall into the trap of becoming overly fascinated by technology itself rather than the human problems it solves. Artificial intelligence, data analysis, digital marketing, and automation can strengthen productivity and decision making. But technology is not entrepreneurship by itself. A sophisticated application that solves no meaningful problems will not create sustainable value. Founders should begin with their customers and ask what need, frustrations, or aspirations the technology can address. Technology also creates a new responsibilities. Entrepreneurs must consider privacy, cybersecurity, fairness, workforce implications, and the social consequence of their innovations. Speed should not eliminate reflection. The strongest venture combine technology capability with the human understanding. They use innovation to improve usefulness, accessibility, quality of efficiency, rather than simply appearing modern. Let's look for example, Instagram. The Kevin says Storms and Mike Krager first built a message apps called Babel with too many features. They noticed user only liked the photo sharing parts. They stripped away the extra teach and focused on simple filter. Another example, Slack. Stewart Butterfield tried to build a video game. The game failed, but the internal chat tools they made to talk to each other worked great. They dropped the game and focused on the chat tool instead. You see how it's changing. They're taking the best one. Technology actually, the technology should therefore be treated as a enabler. It can help entrepreneurs experiment faster and operate at scale. But judgment, trust, purpose, and customer value remain fundamentally human responsibilities. Dr. Moin.
Wow, wow. Vice-Chancellor, I mean, that was a fascinating answer, to be honest with you. I mean, I can see a lot of dimensions actually, and I think our today's audience will be really, really find it valuable. I mean, it's a dramatic answer, but it's at the same time it has got wisdom in every line. So what you said is that technology has the power, but it is not the power that determines the value of the technology. What determines the value of the technology is the kind of meaningful change technology can create in our lives. And there the human aspect comes. So it's not the power of the technology, but how we can use the power for the flourishing of the humanity. That's create the real difference. But you also talked about the new kind of responsibility, and that's really fascinating. That with this technology, not only the magic comes, not only the power comes in our hand, but what comes more than that is the responsibility that how we are going to use this technology. But again, your examples are really fascinating. That when entrepreneurs are using something and they need to just pause sometime and observe that what is the result, what people are liking, and they might then alter their course. So I can see that you mentioned that judgment, trust, purpose, and customer value remain fundamentally human responsibilities. But I also see that these are the things, they are the compass for the entrepreneurs to to adjust their course. As you said, that Instagram initially, well, it was kind of sort of check-in in the hotel, and but people actually find the photo sharing facility of the of this particular app fascinating. And then the entrepreneurs, they responded. They actually today, if you can see that it is sort of like a digital studio that everybody can have, and they can tell their visual stories, and that's the way. It's like you don't have to be a celebrity to go over the red carpet, but you can have your stories actually all over the world on the digital canvas. So I can see that this discussion is really, really getting warm up, and I am very, very excited the way you are taking me through the choppy seas of entrepreneurships. And thank you very much for that. I will ask you the next question, Admiral. So it's about why do teams and trust matter? So as you know, the heroic entrepreneur is often portrayed as a solitary genius. Often, how important are teams, partnership, and honesty in that case?
Well, entrepreneurship is rarely solitary achievements. Even a solo founder depends upon customer, suppliers, advisors, employees, financiers, and institutional partners. As a venture grows, the founder's capacity to attract and retain capable pupils becomes one of the greatest determinants of executions. The right partners may contribute contemporary expertise, credibility, networks, or emotional stability. But partnerships require clarity. A co-founder should establish transparent agreement concerning responsibility, ownership, decision-making, and conflict before success or pressures magnifies unresolved differences. Trust is equally essential. Entrepreneurs with integrity communicate honestly, honor commitments, and remain transparent when difficulties arise. This builds relationships that can survive uncertainty. Short-term manipulations may produce an immediate advantage, but it gradually destroys reputations and cooperations. A strong team does more than divide tasks. It challenges assumptions, expands intelligence, and protects the venture from becoming dependent upon one individual's limitations. The math, I want to say the myth or mythology of the lone genius is false. Great business needs strong teams, trusted partners, and radical honesty to survive. Icons like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Larry Page did not build a tech giant alone. They relied heavily on co-founder and early groups to turn big ideas into reality. Think about Microsoft. Bill Gates was an aggressive business and software strategist. Paul Allen brought key technical breakthrough and helped shape the early vision of Bill Gates. Another example I can give, the Google. The Larry Page had the search algorithm idea, and Sergey Brin joined him to turn the math research into a massive global company. You see how it is going on. And the final example I want to say, given Apple, Steve Jobs had the grand vision, big visions, and design sense, but the Steve Wozniak built the actual computer. The Apple could not exist without both men, both the men, both the Steve. Remember, teams and partners matter because They can discuss, shared skill, get emotional support, and can go for better choice. So the entrepreneurial myth or methodology or the story always celebrates the lone visionary. Entrepreneurial really or reality rewards people who can bring others together around a credible purpose and build trust through consistent conduct. Dr. Moin.
Thank you very much, Vice-Chancellor. That is really a profound answer. I was simply amazed, and I was sort of, as you were saying this thing, I was not here actually. Sometime I was flying through the times. I was going in time when Steve Jobs was standing in Xerox Park trying to see the innovation, and all of a sudden he found something like, the mouse, and he was fascinated. He come back to Apple and said his team, as you mentioned, that it's not the lonely genius because they have the team. And he said that, look, guys, I got the gold mine. So I'm going to give you an idea. Give me something like that so that I can control the computer. Because at that time, even if you wanted to move one folder from one side of the desktop to the other side of the desktop, it's just a little movement that would need kind of half page of coding. So he said that, well, make something like that I can sell for 10 to maybe $10, but it works on my genes and it can function for 2 years. So you see that they are always kind of curious. They are seeing and they are taking idea and they are building on it sometime. And as they build on it, sometimes it is not them, but their team that bring the ideas to reality. And you certainly said it very, very well that it's not just the Steve Jobs, but it's the Steve Jobs and the Steve Wozniak. Because this lone genius, as you said, that this is a false myth. This is just a story. This is not the truth. Behind all this successful revolution, there are people. Somebody might be on the stage, we can see them, but there are people who might be at the background. And you need to understand the value they are bringing. And that's why for entrepreneurs, they need to understand people. They need to trust on them. They need to inspire them. And they need to have the capability so that they can run the orchestra. So there is a story I can remember that it's a funny story that there was a bit of a debate between Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs. And as Steve Jobs is one of the topmost corporate storytellers in the world, I like him really, really very much. So Steve Wozniak was saying that, well, you are not the engineer, you are not the product development guy, you are not the scientist, but everybody talks about you. What are you? And the funny answer that Steve Jobs gave. Steve Jobs says that, well, you do this thing, they do that thing, but I'm the one who run the corporate orchestra. So that's really fascinating. With that, I want to come to the next question, and possibly that could be our last question, Vice-Chancellor. So it's about what is entrepreneurial success. So, Admiral, should entrepreneurial success be measured primarily by wealth, or how?
Brilliant query, I want to say. The financial sustainability is essential because a venture that cannot survive economically cannot continue survive serving customer, employees, or society. Profit is therefore not something entrepreneurs should dismiss. It provides evidence of value, supports investment, and allows growth. But wealth alone is an incomplete measure of success. A successful entrepreneur creates something useful, generate employments, develop people, strengthen capabilities, and leaves customers or commitment or the communities better than before. The paper, I'm talking about my papers, encourages a new entrepreneurs to focus on providing values to the world, suggesting that the financial rewards frequently allows when the venture solve meaningful problems responsibly. Papas also sustain entrepreneurs through difficult periods when immediate rewards are absent. Those motivated only by quick wealth may abandon the journey when progress is slower than expected. The deeper questions is not simply how large did the company become? It is also what problem did it solve? How were people treated? And what possibilities did it create? Entrepreneurial success should not be measured primarily by wealth. While money shows a business make a profit, true success include personal fulfillment, positive social change, innovations, and strong company culture. Many famous leaders shows that impact matter more than money alone. For example, Dr. Muhammad Yunus, the great man, he started Grameen Phone or Grameen Bank to give a small loan to poor people. His success is measured by the millions of families lifted out of poverty. Or Anita Rodek, she founded the Body Shop. She measured success by ethical business practice, human rights, and fighting animal testing. The finest entrepreneurial's legacy is not merely ownership, but the enduring systems, empowered people, and culture shifts left behind. True legacy means creating value that grows and helps others long after the founder stepped away. So I want to say the finest entrepreneurial legacy is not merely ownership. It is meaningful, ethical, and enduring impact. Dr. Moin.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was a very well-rounded answer, Vice-Chancellor. And I must say that although it's not that long, it's kind of sort of a 30, 40-minute session we are having today. But I can see that this has become a masterclass because you are not actually leaving any stone unturned. You are covering everything. I asked you about whether the entrepreneurial success can be measured by wealth. But your answer is so profound, so well-rounded. Financial sustainability is essential because it's like, the fuel. If you don't have the fuel, you can't run your car. You cannot run your engine. So that is the fact of the matter. But again, you said that when it comes to legacy, when it comes to real impact, what matter most is the kind of problem this venture is solving, how they are enlightening or how they are transforming lives of people, how they are taking humanity from one level to another level. And those are really, really a very, very important thing. But you also brought some examples. And so we can see that the entrepreneurs, they are not just kind of the heroes or heroines on the stage, or we don't see them in theater, or we don't see them in the red carpet, but they are the true heroes who are actually changing the lives of people. They are creating employment, as you told very, very well. So they are also changing the economy. They are also helping the flourishment of people's life. That's really, really powerful. So thank you very much for this well-rounded answer. Admiral, also, I would like to give a special thank for all the thoughtful answers and the deep practical examples and the conversation you brought today. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Moin, and your learned audience. I really enjoyed this, Adda.
Thank you very much. I must also thank our audience for staying with us today. So, dear audience, I'm going to finish with a few more words just to give a little bit of summary about our two episodes that we have so that you can get some value out of our sessions. Our purpose is to reach some quality knowledge to you so that you can also make a difference. So across these two episodes, we have traveled the full arc of entrepreneurial journey with Admiral Akhter as the captain of the ship and his paper as the passage plan that the captain used while they navigate. So we learned how entrepreneurial inspiration evolves into entrepreneurial discipline. A founder may possess passion, but passion must endure routine, pressure, and disappointments. So those are the real life challenges that the entrepreneur face on a day-to-day basis. A leader may possess confidence, but confidence must remain open to evidence. Technology may unlock extraordinary possibilities, but it must still serve meaningful human problems, not distract from them. And no enduring venture is ever built by one person alone. So there is no single hero. It's like an orchestra. And sometimes the entrepreneur are the orchestra runner. So entrepreneurs need teams, partners, customers, and advisors and institutions. Those relationships deepen on communication, integrity, and trust. Perhaps the most important lesson is this: entrepreneurship cannot be reduced to the pursuit of wealth. Financial stability matters. Without it, a venture cannot survive, employ people, invest, or serve customers. But profit alone cannot tell us whether an entrepreneur has created something meaningful. The world's great entrepreneurs do not offer a single formula because it's a very uncertain environment, but their lives reveal a recurring pattern. They see possibilities where others see limits. They begin before every resource is available. They learn from evidence. They adapt without abandoning purpose. They combine confidence with humility. They use technology to serve people. They build team through trust, and they pursue success that can endure beyond the founder. That's very, very powerful. A true entrepreneurial legacy is lying there. To everyone watching, thank you for joining us for this two-part intellectual under on Creativity Cafe. Please like, share, and subscribe. And tell us in the comments what creates lasting entrepreneurial success. Is it passion, discipline, innovation, trust, or purpose? Waiting to see your comment, dear audience. Until next time, keep questioning, keep creating, and keep turning possibility into meaningful value. Thank you and goodbye.